heritage àtàwọn new generation àwọn kan jẹ́ àwọn ọmọ wa tí wọ́n ní iṣẹ́ dáadáa lọ́wọ́ tó jẹ́ pé inú wa sì dùn wípé Ọlọ́run bùkún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọ́n ti bá ọkàn wọn dá májẹ̀mú wípé ní agbára Ọlọ́run by 2000 AD òmìnira máa dé fúnlẹ̀ káàrọ̀ òmìnira. Èmi sì mọ̀ dájú wípé Ọlọ́run Oòduà, Ọlọ́run Ọ̀rànmíyàn, Ọlọ́run Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀, Ọlọ́run Adékúnlé Ajáṣin amúwadé ilẹ̀ tuntun náà nígbì tí ẹ̀gbin ìyà àti ìrẹ́jẹ kò ní sí fún ọmọ káàárọ̀ òjíire mọ́. Tàbá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ilẹ̀ ìlérí tí a fẹ́ lọ yìí, àwọn tí ọ̀rọ̀ òye wọ́n máa kù bí egbére. Lójú àwọn egbére tí mò ń wí, ó dàbí ẹni pé ohun ẹ̀yẹ ni kí ènìyàn máa wà nú ẹ̀gbin, nú ìyà, nú ìrẹ́jẹ. A bá sì fojú wo, kì í ṣe àwa Yorùbá nìkan ni ìyà ń jẹ ní Nàìjíríà. Bí Yorùbá ti bọ̀ wọ́n ní àrùn tó ń ṣe ojì náà ló ń ṣọ̀ọ́dún. Ohun tó ń ṣe Abọ́yadé kọ́ o. Ìyà tó ń jẹ Ṣógbẹ̀yìn l'Abẹ́òkúta ń kọ́. Òun náà ló ń jẹ Súlè ní Kòńtàgò. Ebi tó bá ń pa bàbá Búwà ní Adó-Èkìtì kọ́, ṣó yàtọ̀ sí èyí tó pa Ìkejùkù ní Abakaliki. Nígbà tí mo sọ Ìkejùkù ní ìsìn, wọ́n á rántí tí wọ́n láyé ló ń jẹ́ kí rántí o. Nígbà tí a wà nínú Óbúgà, ẹ̀yin náà àti gbọ́, olóyè Akíntọ́lá ló ń pe Óbúgà ní Óbúgà. Ó wá polongo ẹgbẹ́ NNDP lẹ́sà òkè ló ń bí ọjà wa kẹ́kẹ́ tó bá ti kọjá ẹ̀sà wípé ẹ̀ lọ sókè bẹ̀sì. Ilé àwọn Ìkejùkù ló. Ṣé mọ̀ àwọn aláìṣe action group àti NCNC àwa ni ọ̀gá àgbà yẹn ló bá kúkú mú Ìgè àti Chúkú ló bá pa pọ̀. Mi mọ̀ bóyá Bọ́lájí wà ní, tí Bọ́lájí bá wà ní kó gbọ́ ilé yìí o torí tó bá di ọ̀rẹ́ mi á sọ fún ẹ. Chief Akíntọ́lá ó lọ sí òde. Ló wá ní wọ́n máa sọ men of integrity bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn kan wà ní tí wọ́n integrity o. Bọ́lá ń ṣiṣẹ́ o ti gbọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n yẹn Àkúrẹ́ ìlú àwọn olú àti fásọ̀rọ̀ tí lélẹ̀ ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ Chief Akíntọ́lá ló ṣe campaign. Gbogbo ẹni àwọn òsì kò náwó sókè o. Gbogbo wọn náwó sókè. Gbogbo ẹni àwọn òsì kò náwó sókè. Gbogbo wọn ọwọ́ ni mo ti ń bọ̀ ní mo rẹ́ ní ajá sí. Story and I finished that one. 1962 ni mo kọ article sí Tribune. Mo wá kọ article kan there must be no dichotomy between the government and the party. Àṣé Chief Akintola kà wọ́n wá pe meeting action group executive sí Ìkẹjà. Ṣé mo wá rọra dúró sí ẹgbẹ́ ilẹ̀kùn ó wá dé inú mọ́tò ẹ̀ bó ti ṣílẹ̀kùn bó ti rí mi lónìí dichotomy. The truth of the matter is that aláti dúpẹ́ fún àwọn èèyàn yẹn nítorí pé tó bá jẹ́ pé kéèyàn sọ Yorùbá ni èèyàn kan tí mo rí gbogbo lẹ̀ káàárọ̀ òjíire tá a lè sọ pé rival Chief Akintola òní Dr. C.L. Adéoyè àti bóyá ààrẹ wa Gbádégẹ ṣiṣà adàpọ̀yẹ bó bá di pé kí aráàlú ká kẹsẹ̀ sí ṣòkòtò láti gbọ́n ìyẹn ọmọ Yorùbá di ẹni tí ń wà wájú Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́ kí ẹ̀yà wa pọ́n ẹnu mọ́ ìyà bí omi ìrèké ẹ̀yà Oòduà a kì í wá ọ̀nà àti rẹ́ ẹnì kejì jẹ ṣùgbọ́n o àwa náà à ní gbà kẹ́nikẹ́ni rẹwà jẹ àwọn tó bá rò pé àwọn máa fi àtàkù ìrẹ́jẹ bọ̀ wá nínú ó dàbí ẹni pé àwọn náà ti rí báyìí wípé jáde ẹ̀ bá bà lókùn kọ́ o. This time last year, many of us were still being held in prison. Chibolifalaye and Frederick Faseu, they were in Alabama close. Toys would do Paco Bio and my dog killer. Eminko Mo Hora Kura, Limaku deep prison. And what was that? Just one. We were opposed to the autocratic design which the late Sani Abacha was proposing for Amazon. In 4 days, you might not disturbing me, please. I'll wait until you finish. In 4 days, that's on June 16, I shall with gratitude to God mark the first anniversary of my release from Makurdi prison, where Sani Abacha's henchmen had incarcerated me. And what a difference that 1 year has made for us. And we here are ocular demonstration of what God has done. And so I can say that today, although the venomous effects of Sani Abacha's abominable regime still permeate many facets of the Nigerian nation, Abacha himself can no longer derive sinister pleasure from the imposition of his evil will on Nigeria. Many of those who once paraded themselves as Abacha's courtiers quickly became Olympic sprinters, dashing to distance themselves from their evil mentor and corrupt benefactor. By stark contrast, Abacha's heroic prisoners of conscience, such as Olufalaye, Frederick Faseu, Bear Koransan Kuti, Shehu Sani, Frank Kokori, Milton Dabibi, Chris Anyanwu, Kule Ajibade, with whom I shared prison in Makurdi, and many others are now free to continue the struggle for which we were unjustly imprisoned without trial and in total contravention of fundamental human rights. And just as Abacha's exit from power under ignominious circumstances demonstrates the supremacy of God, so does the eventual fate of one particular prisoner, Olusegun Obasanjo, once unjustly incarcerated, now occupies the very position that Abacha craved with murderous passion, that of the civilian president of Nigeria. Our God must have a huge sense of irony. As many of you know, for many, many years now, I have always posited that a military regime can never be white democracy. Military mindset, military training, military proclivity, all these are largely antithetical to democratic practice. All that a nation can inherit from a military regime is a civilian administration. It is a civilian regime if it is attuned to the yearning of the people that can build white democracy. And as you know, what we have at the moment is the beginning of the struggle for true democracy. As you know, I myself did aspire to the presidency of Nigeria. Those who are closest to me knew that had my aspirations succeeded, we would have given Nigeria a transitional government to true democracy. I never deceived myself that I was going to bring about democracy simply because I was going to be elected. The instrument for doing that would have been an eclectic government of national unity, whose highest goal would have been the removal of all the structural barbed wires that have held Nigerians hostage for so long. But man can only propose. It is left to God to dispose. Obviously, God, who does all things well, carved and still carves a different role for me. In the light of the most recent events and the unnecessary controversy that they have generated, I'm sure that many of you would want to know what I perceive to be my role in the present state of affairs of Nigeria, with particular reference to the Yoruba nation in a post-military situation. For an answer, let me quickly take you on a detour on memory lane. Those of you, and I think there are some who are here, who were at the Liberty Stadium for my inauguration as the governor of Oyo State in 1979, would recall that, as was my practice throughout my tenure of office, I addressed our people in Yoruba language. However, that address was ended with a short poem that I could not translate into Yoruba, and which I had written out some months earlier. And I said, self-knowledge, self-reverence, self-respect. These three alone lead life to sovereign power. Yet, not for power. Power of herself would come uncalled for, but to live by law. Acting the law we live by without fear. And because right is right, to follow right, or wisdom in the school of consequence. Now, encapsulated in that short poem are at least three cardinal principles. First, power should be sought only as an instrumentality of service. Whenever and wherever power is sought for its own sake, it degenerates into tyranny. Second, although adherence to the truth sometimes causes temporary setbacks, and some of us who are here are proof positive of that statement, only those whose loins are girded by truth are free from a life of fear. And third, anyone who does the right thing is never perturbed by the consequence. Doing the right thing is its own best reward. With this in my mind, my role remains what it has always been and what it shall always be: to do the right thing in good conscience, regardless of reward or lack of it. What then is the right thing to do? For me, the right thing to do is quite simple: the demolition of tyranny in all of its manifestations. Today, the vast majority of our people are held hostage by ignorance, disease, and superstitions. The right thing to do is to ensure that as a matter of urgency, our comatose educational institutions are resuscitated. Our healthcare system has collapsed. Going to a Nigerian hospital is like keeping appointment with the consuls of death. The right thing to do, particularly in the 6 states of Yoruba land, which we now control, is to infuse new life into our healthcare system. Today, our cities have become sprawling ghettos. The concept of town planning has disappeared from the lexicon of administration in Nigeria. Whether it is Ikoyi, whether it is Victoria Island, whether it is Lekki, whether it is Bodija, whether it is Akure, whether it is Ado-Ekiti, whether it is Abeokuta, when you see some of the things that have happened in the last 15 years, you'll be amazed. All the plots of the government reservation areas have been chopped off because civil servants who are temporarily there just want to have their own slice of the GRA. The result, of course, is that something which no architectural expert or any sensible person would want. I mean, in Ibadan, you now have 3 plots being carved out of a former GRA plot. And the endless constructions that one finds are never an indicator of economic boom. Rather, they reveal the capacity of our Nigerian elite to acquire, often by corrupt means, every available parcel of land. They then proceed to build on them with minimal or no consideration for environmental aesthetics, or recreational needs, or even common sense. In Nigeria, it is not unusual to find an embassy, banking headquarters, office, mechanic and vulcanizer workshops, sandwiching private residences, and turning otherwise beautiful streets into congested slums, traffic nightmares, and sprawling eyesores. And so, at that mundane level, the right thing to do is to, particularly in Yoruba land, as you know, we the Yorubas are the only race of peasants who live in towns and cities. In the whole world. In the whole world. You go and ask any demographer, they will tell you that Tiyo Bayato, whether it is in America, or in Australia, or in parts of Nigeria, Peasants live in small hamlets dotted all over their farms. Yorubas are the only ones. You go to Esauke, which is the largest city in the whole world with a population of 30,000, which has a population of about 25 to 30,000. They come home between Friday and Sunday, Isimiola Sunday, then Monday, Isimieda, and then they go back from Tuesday. And all of you who come, I mean, the paramount ruler of Abo is here. He sees to what happens in the farm and in the fields, and then weekend he's back into the city of Akure. And every one of you, if you can cast your mind back, there are no villages in Yoruba land as villages that you have either in the north or in the east. There are no such villages. When you think about a place like Oguta, I don't know how many of you have been in the east, you just find that they have stretches of houses along the main road. Otio, Nile Yoruba, or Mowa, Abibeko. Is that they allow their imagination and the creative energy of their people to soar. You cannot take that away from America, and we, the people of Yoruba land, must learn that from them. The right thing to do in today's Nigeria is to be brave enough to give Nigerians the freedom they deserve, and without which they shall continue to waffle in stagnation. For me, there is no higher calling than to bring about a restructured Nigeria where all of us can benefit from the fruits of liberty. My dear brothers and sisters, my skin has become quite thick to the smear campaigns and tactics of calumny that defract my views. Before Kwame Nkrumah made Pan-Africanism a fad, I was already a Pan-Africanist. In pursuit of an Africanist ideal, I lived here in the United States in 1959 and 1960. I was part of a vanguard of young idealists, along with Julian Bond, Andrew Young, John Lewis, May King, a young girl at that time, but she's now a professor in Washington. We dreamt of and worked hard for a better world, a better America, a better Africa, and a better Nigeria. It was possible to make those aspiring to any political office in Nigeria to read the Federalist Papers. Our country might be spared the intellectual silliness that masquerades as patriotism and nationalism. When one says these things, one gets the nonsensical accusation of being arrogant. But look, am I supposed to deceive myself simply because others are willing to deceive themselves? I know that we, the Yorubas, do not want to cheat others in any way. But we also do not wish to be cheated. Read the history of Nigeria. Who were the people who championed the creation of states? The Yorubas. Who provided legal, financial, and other material supports to the TV and the United Middle Belt Congress during their struggle for autonomy? The Yorubas. Who provided support for the movement for the creation of cross-river Ogojas and river state? The Yorubas. Read the debates that took place in the Federal House of the Representatives in the 50s. Did the Yorubas oppose the creation of the Midwest region? Absolutely not. By contrast, while the governments of the East and the North were bent on splitting Western region, how did they respond to the aspirations of the Eastern and Northern Nigerian minorities? My dear brothers and sisters, read the history of Nigeria. Because one knows these things. One simply dismisses some allegations as pathetic display of ignorance. For heaven's sake. Were power to be devolved to the states in Nigeria today, will the Yorubas be the only nation to benefit? Shall the Ogoni, the Edo, the Urobo, the Efik, the Igbo, the Tivi, the Mumuye, the Kanuri, will they not benefit from being spared the shackles of an overbearing federal might? Shall the Tivi, the Hausa, the Fulani, the Jukun, the Kanuri, the Baju, that is those of you who know who the Baju are, well, you had the name, you had a Badaki, is a Baju. Will they not be better able to marshal local strategies for addressing local problems? Is that not what federalism is about? We, the Yorubas, have never asked for ourselves what we are not willing to grant to others. And I want to recall that the motto of Western Nigeria used to be liberty and justice. Without liberty and justice, any hope for unity is an illusion. A system that tramples liberty and justice underfoot cripples faith in itself. Peace and progress are fleeting mirages in a nation that does not gird its loins with liberty and justice. And so the issue of devolution of power, of greater autonomy for the states, of restructuring is a matter of liberty and justice. The right thing to do is to embrace it. That is my role under the present dispensation, and it is my unchanging role under any dispensation. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope, satisfied your curiosity about my own role. I think it is now time for me to ask and to think out what I think should be your own role as Yorubas and as Nigerians. And so I'll briefly state 3 areas where your contributions are generally and greatly needed. First of all is the preservation of the Yoruba language. Tabakwi Nigeria sí ọ̀nà mẹ́rin. Àwa Yorùbá a kó ìdákọ̀ọ́nù mẹ́rin. Àwa Yorùbá àwa ní ẹ̀yà tá a tóbi jù nílẹ̀ èèyàn dúdú. Ní ìlà oòrùn Áfíríkà kò sí ẹ̀yà kankan, kò sí ìlú kankan. Àwọn ìlú bíi Ghana, Togo, Senegal, àdìkápá gbogbo wọn pọ̀ ní ìsọ nígbà àwọn ẹ̀yà tó ń gbèdú àwọn yẹn o, àní àwọn ìlú yẹn Ghana ọ̀tọ̀ Yorùbá. Tàbá pín Yorùbá sí mẹ́ta, nígbà tí mo ṣe gómìnà Ọ̀yọ́ state máa sọ pé àwa Ọ̀yọ́ state àjù Ghana lọ. Kí ni ẹ ṣe yẹn nìkan? Ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ èèyàn dúdú, nítorí ká rọra fi àwọn ṣàdúríṣà àwọn tó ń jẹ́ àwọn Íjíbítì, àwọn yẹn àbá Íjíbítì ìyẹn, ṣùgbọ́n ó kù South Africa pàápàá, àjù South Africa lọ ní èèyàn, nítorí pé mílíọ̀nù 30 ni àwọn akáàrọ̀ òjìire. Ẹ̀yẹ sọ ìlú kankan tó wà ní gbogbo Áfíríkà tó tó yẹ. Ní gbogbo ayé yìí, àwa Yorùbá ipò 9 la wà ní gbogbo ayé pé àwọn tí wọ́n gbọ́ èdè ara wọn tí wọ́n jọ sọ èdè kan náà ipò kẹsàn-án la wà ní gbogbo ayé